our Creator created a garden. And it was out of that garden that He formed human life to tend the garden. And out of that one family, all the families, all the nations, all the peoples of the world came forth. Isn't that wonderful?
This is Tom Ritchie for Community Connections, and we're here at Karamu Garden, and I have with me Dylan.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And Dylan is a member of the Elks.
Yes, sir. I'm a member of the Ames Elks Lodge, number 106, and we're actually a fraternal organization, and we're here for the community. We do a lot of different things in the community.
And as talking to you earlier, we were talking about this garden has been here for 5 years or more. Is that correct?
That is correct. We started the garden about 5 years ago in conjunction with the Black Storytellers Alliance and the Plymouth Townhomes, and it's been growing ever since.
Wow, this is just fabulous. I think it's great, the fresh food, fresh vegetables for the community here.
Yes.
And what are the goals, or what are the things are you doing?
Well, the things that we generally like to do, especially in the community, is to make sure that everybody has some of the things that they wouldn't normally get in their actual homes.
Yeah.
The things we've been doing, we're doing school lunches all throughout the school year for the kids. We've been faithfully every day serving about 200 kids. And we also just recently, last weekend, we did our backpack school drive, and we did about 250 kids with that as well. The community is definitely something that we like to pay attention to.
So your lodge is very active down here.
We're extremely active. We're here every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, Easter egg hunts. We do everything in the community, and we like to have the community come over and give us some ideas about what they think they need and what we can help them with.
This is wonderful. This is a wonderful project. I'm glad to see people out and about. Now, the storytellers are going to be here in a while. Is that correct?
That is correct. They're here right now, actually. They're roaming around here somewhere, but once they get started, they will be giving you a history of what the garden actually started out to be and what it's growing into.
All right. So, and there's other members here from the lodge, and I see other community people here?
Yes, indeed. I'm the exalted ruler of Ames Lodge number 106, and over here we have my financial secretary, who is Kevin Brooks.
Okay.
We have Brother Al here is from across the street with the Plymouth Townhomes. He's been more or less the garden overseer. He's been watching the garden. Yes, he's been watching the garden for us.
Well, I see you've got from the kids to the adults, everybody is participating.
We're all here to get to work, so we don't want to belabor that or delay that any further. But I don't think it can go unnoticed that we have a wonderfully diverse group here. And I heard Jack say that he doesn't like dirt, but God likes dirt. He made it. He made a whole lot of it. And I think we've got I know we've got several faith communities present, and we have several faith systems present. And I think what we have in common is the belief that somehow our Creator created a garden. And it was out of that garden that He formed human life to tend the garden. And out of that one family, all the families, all the nations, all the peoples of the world came forth. Isn't that wonderful? And so I love the thought of collaboration. I love what this garden represents and the opportunity it gives us to bring forth life in a way that God, the Creator, loves. And I want to just commend you for saying amen to that by your presence today. And it's my prayer, if I can say that as we take beams and boards and screws and nails and all the things we do, that we will do so with a heartfelt commitment and understanding that what we're building is more than a pergola. But within this garden, we're creating an opportunity for the peoples to connect. I think it was about 47 years ago, right here where we stand, businesses that were owned by African Americans and Jewish Americans were burned because, in large part, of the faith community's failure at that time in history to really understand justice. And as we talk about food justice and environmental justice and economic equity and fairness for all people, we need to understand that, again, as we build this pergola today, that it's an opportunity for us to say no to the horrors of the past and yes to the beautiful hope of the present into the future. And that's my prayer, that will be in our hearts today. And I also further pray that this garden, this place in which we stand as one people, will provide an opportunity for African Americans in particular, and our Jewish brothers and sisters in particular, to reclaim our community and our shared life. And out of the dirt that holds the ashes of burned down businesses and burned down homes from the riots along Plymouth Avenue in 1967, we see rising food, we see rising lives, and we see rising a better future. God bless us all as we move forward.
You know, some of the real leadership for this garden has come from the Elks, and so I'd like to introduce you to some of the leadership from the Elks to make a few comments.
All right.
First, I thank everybody for coming out. As you said, Ames Lodge and Minnehaha Hop Temple have been a part of this community since 1906. We're a community-based organization that's worldwide, and what we want to do is just help everything that can help contribute to building a bigger, stronger community. Family-based first, because it all starts with each individual. We're here every day of the week for anybody that needs help with anything that we can within our range. We're always here willing to help a hand. We have a lot of different programs for the community, education drives that we have. We've had the kids over here this summer for a little lunch program that we had all summer for the kids. They've also been coming over into the garden and have enjoying something else to do and figure out how to enjoy themselves doing something that they're not used to doing every day. As long as we can continue to bring our community together and make everybody stronger, and I love to see the mixture that we have out here that shows how broad our community actually is, and to see something that's positive, that's not on the news just as a negative thing, that's the only thing that we usually see. And to once see something that's positive and everybody know that it's going on, and it's not something that's hush-hush just around the corner for a few people. And that's basically all we're here, and we're glad everyone's here, and you're welcome to come down and join us anytime. We're at Ames Lodge number 106 and Minnehaha Temple number 129.
Minneapolis spokesman, so he's been a leader, a thought leader in this community for long before I was here.
Good afternoon. I called myself retiring after driving truck for 22 years. Ran my mother's newspaper for 20 years. And I thought it was time to sit down, but Michael said, no, we got to still dig some dirt. So here we are digging dirt. I don't like dirt, but I'm out here to help the kids. That's the best I can.
Thank you.
I'm still relatively new to Minneapolis. Just moved here about 4 years ago. But quickly, after my time in Washington, D.C., 20 years in Washington, D.C., tried to find some place cold and snowy. But I built a youth center in Southeast D.C. We bought 3 former crack houses and converted them into an after-school teen drop-in center. And one of the main reasons why we did that, because we believe that people need to go where the people are to bring hope. And hope is such a powerful thing. Agree?
Yes.
Hope is a powerful, powerful thing. As a matter of fact, a guy named Zig Ziglar says that hope is the fundamental value of all change. And he also says that encouragement is the engine upon which that hope runs. And so when you look around you and you see the effort of pulling the community together to participate in a building community, it can only bring excitement. And yesterday I was speaking at an event in Charlotte, and someone remarked to me how well behaved the students were. And I was quick to say, oftentimes when we experience things like that, it's the fact that there's some very strong positive leadership somewhere. There's an adult who's doing something right along the line. And we see a lot of hurt and disappointment among our young people, and many times that's because of adult failure. And that challenges us to do everything we can to make the kind of impact we can on the generation on our heels, in order that we can produce hope. And community, building community, is an exciting way to make that happen. I also have the distinction of playing for one of the greatest football teams in America, your favorite Denver Broncos. Coach
I bleed purple, but I also root for them.
And you know, we learned something when we lost the Super Bowl. We learned something.
We learned it 4 times. We still haven't learned.
You know, we learned that there's championship lessons you can learn out of all of your experiences. And so when we hear about some of the challenges that our young people face, some of the bad choices they make, we have to learn that when we see many of the miscues, oftentimes that simply represents a crop that is spoiling because somebody is not reaping the harvest. And we have to learn how to make ourselves available to yield our resources, our time, our talent, and our treasure to help make a difference in the hearts and lives of those who we rub shoulders with in the community. I'm excited to be a part of a church that's serious about making that happen, and I'm also excited to be a part of a community that's serious about making that happen. So I just want to say that and congratulate all of you just for being here, because that's a major step in the right direction. Feet on the ground, showing your approval by your presence. God bless you.
It's McKelvey, and I'm a volunteer with Project Sweetie Pie, and the same thing with Jack. I am a farmer. My dad was a dairy farmer. I grew up in rural Fresno, California, and so it was an opportunity, and so I support the kids in transportation or what information I have. Thank you.
We've met some folks from the faith-based community that have helped make this happen, but I want to bring a couple people forward who have assisted us in the material side of the world, you know, and that is the bricks and the mortar. And so this is Mr. Hansen, and I'll let him speak for himself and tell you a little bit about his company, and thank you.
The name of the company is Arteca. We've been around since 1970. I've actually owned it for the last 10 years, so I bought it right about when the recession started. Yay me. But anyway, we've made it through. I saw Michael's piece on WCCO's with the woman who has 2 first names, reporter, and I was inspired by it because you see so many things up on this side of town that are negative. And you know, I live out in Wayzata, but you know what? Hopelessness, opportunity, fulfillment, there's no borderlines. They come this way, they go everywhere. So that's the way I see helping humanity and fulfilling myself as well as helping others fulfill. So that's my involvement. Thank you.
My name is Bobby McKinley, and I'm with www.minnesotareading.org, and the program is matching elderly people with kids in kindergarten to 1st grade to 3rd grade to teach them how to read. And the program has been going on for a while. It's been very successful, and you can sign up at www.minnesotareading.org. There you go.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to thank everybody that's out here today for joining us, and all of the independent support that we've already received from Arteca and Kraus Anderson, you noticed. we were, Mr. Hansen saw on WCCO a story about Project Sweetie Pie, and so he contacted the reporter. He traced down the reporter, and he says, I want to do something to help those people over there in that garden. I really like what's going on, and I think I might be of some assistance. And so he contacted the reporter, Miss Littlejohn from WCCO, and so she contacted me, and I contacted Mr. Hansen, and we started working together. I said, well, I think that there's a greater opportunity. He said, I have some benches I'd like to donate, and he is going to. I said, but I think that there's a greater opportunity, and that is to use this event to really symbolize and to be a catalyst for bringing about change in North Minneapolis in terms of business and economic development and the urban farm movement. You know, I like to say banners, benches, and businesses. Well, we don't have the banners yet. We don't have necessarily the businesses yet, but we do have the benches now.
And a pergola.
And a pergola.
Almost.
Oh, cool.
So that's what we're going to have you kind folks work on today. And so I'd like to start off with North Minneapolis is going green. Give us a call and learn what we mean. Where once lie urban blight, now sits luscious garden sites. Gardens without borders, classrooms without walls. Architects of our own destinies, access to food, justice for all. So I want to introduce you to some of the leaders of our community, and there's many here today. But let's walk back in time where in this community and how this garden got started long before Arteca or Sweetie Pie or any of the rest of us who was here. The vision was by Notanda Zulu and some other folks. And so, by the way, there's no microphone here in case you haven't guessed. it's kind of my security blanket. Anyway, as it were, Notanda Zulu, she's been a leader in this community for many, many years. And so I'm proud to introduce Notanda Zulu.
Okay, so Black Storytellers Alliance, I'm president of it. We were with an organization called Environmental Justice Advocates of Minnesota. And they were about the business of making sure that there were gardens wherever there was nothing happening. And so meeting with them, we decided, well, let us ask and figure out what's going on next to the Elks. Well, I thought the land belonged to the Elks. That's my son over there. And but it wasn't theirs. It belonged to the housing complex, the owners of that. So then we started out that first year. We didn't know what was underneath, and so we started out just by putting down what those sawdust
carcass bags.
The salt. It's like mulch.
Wood chips.
Wood chips and dirt on top of it.
Right.
Real short rows. And that's what we start out. But this young lady has been with us from the beginning too. And so she would come across the street with her dad and help plant and help harvest and ask questions and be a big help to us. So she is from the beginning of this garden 4 years ago. This is Dorothea. She's been gone all summer long, so she didn't know what was happening in her garden. And so the thing is, though, the next year we did some amelioration. We added some soil, and we tilled, and we started planting in the ground using new soil. The next year we put in some, we had like a cover crop, some rye, and then we plowed that in, and and more dirt, and to kind of ameliorate the soil. So when Michael called to ask if this Karamu Garden could be a part of this grant that they were writing, we said fine, because this really is for the people in this community or anybody who needs food. We call ours a communal community garden. because we found out that community doesn't always mean the same thing to everybody else. Community in some places means that everybody's got a little plot and they don't want other people coming in. But we wanted people to know that this was open to everyone, whether you did the work or not. It was open so that, you know, we don't have a supermarket anywhere near here. People have to get on a bus and go to Cub if they want to get food from a real supermarket. So this way they got fresh produce, you know, that they can eat, that's for them. They don't have to worry about somebody saying they can't have it, it belongs to me or whatever else. They don't have to worry about that. And so that was the big idea behind starting this garden. You know, we collaborated with a lot of folks. The Elks has provided water each and every year. Yay. Al has been the watcher and the waterer, making sure that there are bags for people to put their produce in. And so we're happy for the enhancements that are coming through Project Sweetie Pie for this garden and for the residents of this area. And so I think that covers the history pretty much. But Black Storytellers Alliance believes in collaborating because we don't believe in remaking the wheel. We know that there are things going on that we could, you know, and people we can collaborate with. And so knowing that already, that's how we got this garden started. Collaborating with the landowners, the water bearers, and community. So, that's it. Of the near north side. So this is a little bit of the history. I just pulled it off of the internet. Some people, some of the characters and people from that time period. There's a little on Spike and a bit on the way. But so I just put it here in case anybody's interested in reading it. It's here for your pleasure.